Let's talk about some hot topics. Could a visit to the chiropractor cost you your life? Well, that was one of the headlines and a shocking discovery in the case of model Katie May's recent death. It was discovered that the cause of her catastrophic stroke was due to an injury from neck manipulation. While she was at the chiropractor, the death certificate read neck manipulation by a chiropractor. Apparently, the injury tore an artery in her neck. And of course, when that can happen, it can lead to a stroke, in some cases even deadly.
I guess it started with a photo shoot. She's a model, and she got injured in the photo shoot, went to the chiropractor twice to get her neck manipulated to help with this injury.
A study looked at this and found, I think, 26 published cases. And we actually have via Skype Dr. Chet Mallet, who is a chiropractor, to talk about this, because it has to be done in a safe, proper way, does it not?
It does. I mean, in fact, first of all, I wanted to offer my condolences to Katie and her family, and especially her daughter. And then to make this clear, this is a very rare case. And we don't really know her entire medical history, but in the light of an accident prior to that, there is some possibilities of some previous tears. And not every doctor is exactly the same, not all. And it's hard to tell exactly which procedure in which manner was performed in her. There's also many different types of examinations we do to hopefully ferret out some of those problems so we don't put people at high risk.
Chet, do you warn your patients as possible? Like, as a surgeon, you have to say there's a possibility of bleeding, infection, and death. Like, you don't want to. It has never happened, right? But you have to say it as a surgeon. What do you do prior to manipulating the neck?
We do have, obviously, forms that inform consent on care. And people do have the ability to read. We discuss it with a lot of our patients. And you've got to understand that there are millions and millions of adjustments being done daily with almost no negative effects. But we do have to, obviously, like any other profession, there's always a bit of risk when it comes to any type of care you're receiving. We just happen to have a very extremely low risk. But that, again, in the world that we live in, not everything is 100% safe.
And Chet, that was my question. Have you ever seen something initial intake, that you looked at somebody's X-ray and said, you know what, I don't want to do the typical manipulation? That they were at risk?
I actually have found X-rays and signs and symptoms of patients who have just received care in an emergency room and sent them right back that they missed, for instance, in a fractured bone to the dens on a car accident, and would not perform any type of manipulation because of our training. We were looking at those symptoms, took the X-ray, went to get the MRI, and sure enough, there it was. And the man, is alive today because he could have just been falling asleep in the wrong position and died looking at that fracture. So yes, there's been times.
So Chet, how worried are we about stroke with neck manipulation? Is this 1 in a million? What is it?
It's literally 1 in 10 million or more. I mean, there's no real seriously conclusive evidence. There's some studies that have tried to take a shot at it. There's so many factors involved, and considering there are 800,000 strokes a year, and not by chiropractors, it's hard to tell exactly what the following up is. It's an ischemic event. Sometimes it's lifestyle. Sometimes it's other events that have happened. But we do try to minimize our risks. And I've been practicing for 20 years and, never had a problem with any of my patients in that respect.
Well, Dr. Mallet, we appreciate you coming on and talking about this. And I think it's important for people to know that in any profession, whether you're in medicine as a surgeon, in medicine as a chiropractor, there's always going to be a range of incredible practitioners who know everything, and then there's always going to be a few practitioners who maybe aren't quite as good at their skill set. And that doesn't mean in this case that's what happened.
Yeah, what do you call the person who graduates last in their med school class?
Doctor.
Doctor.
Yep.
Sad but true.